Hi everyone, so I just thought I'd give you a little rundown thing because a lot of people have been asking me about it recently and saying can you please post some pictures and descriptions of the pedal board, which I always attempt to do and then forget and just it goes a bit wrong. So I was testing out my gear today in the lounge and just thought what the hell, let's do it, put some makeup on and do a pedal board rundown. So that's what I'm doing. So my trusty assistant, Dad, is going to be holding the camera and reading out some questions because I can't multitask and play guitar and hold a camera at the same time and my arm's starting to ache. So here goes nothing, and please do ask your questions and I'll try and answer some of them, but Dad's going to be reading them out and he has got his glasses on, so hopefully we'll get through some and I hope you enjoy it. I use a Shaw and it is a glx-d1. Basically we have transmitter, receiver. Basically it's just the wireless thing, but it's on the board because it saves rack mounting, which is quite cool. So I go straight into that and then through all this gubbins, which comes in actually to this. Everything comes in separately to this, which is the Iguana Tail Loop 2, which is made by One Control, which is a fantastic little gizmo. Basically what it does is each pedal comes individually into the ins and outs like a loop. Well, that's what it is, it's a loop I suppose, so that you can bring in each pedal individually with true bypass without having to get tap dancing up here with short legs, basically knocking everything as you go. When you're clumsy like me, that's kind of relevant. So yeah, that's this thing. So I'll just kind of demonstrate how that works a little bit. So I go into the tuner from the tuner mute thing. So, why is it not working? That would be switching that one on, that works. So yeah, you've got a basic mute tuner, puts it in tune, does where it says on the tin. And then you can bring in the different effects. So like, I label everything up because I'm a bit like OCD about things and I'm forgetful, which always helps when you've got big labels on things. So like for the sweet tea, that's this one, which I'll go into in a bit. Bring that in and you've got your distortion. So yeah, you've got your distortion channel, and you can bring that in, and then you can also bring in the other pedals without having to individually select the individual pedals. So like I would bring in, for instance, a boost, which you probably won't be able to hear it because it'll be compressed, but so yeah, it's kind of like I think it's like a 20 dB boost or something, which you can change obviously and really crank that, but I only have it really subtle because I use it on the lead channel if I'm just going into a solo and it just needs a bit of a lift or a boost. Ah, sorry, stupid comment. So I'll go back to the sweet tea because it's my favourite pedal in the universe, and no, I'm not sponsored, I just like it. And it's called the sweet tea and it's got a picture of a nice tea on it, so it must be nice. So yeah, it's got two sides to it. One is kind of like an 808 and the other is like an Angry Charlie. So on the 808 side, if you bring that in, you've got, it's kind of a crunch. So I use it like, so you can really drive it. On that one I use that, and then obviously the Angry Charlie I use for like the proper like squealy wheelie stuff. So yeah, that's that one. I just love it. I put that through the clean channel of the Legacy 3 Steve Vai model, which I just adore and love. And it's great, and I just put this through the clean channel on that. I don't use any real effects on that because there's not much point because it sounds beautiful anyway.
Quick question, somebody just asked who built your pedal board.
Who built my pedal board? Rick at somewhere in Manchester, but he's not there anymore. Oh no, you didn't, you did. Sorry, Dad. There goes my pint tonight. Oops.
That was my claim for fame and you ruined it.
I did ruin it, sorry Dad. Oops. Never mind. Anyway, it's a very nice pedal board. That just means that it looks as good as the old one that Rick did build. Just think of it that way. It's a compliment in a real backhanded way. Okay, so moving on. So we've done that one, we've done that one, we've done that one. Obviously, wah, just because. Which sounds much better on that. Which I'm going to turn down before our neighbours kill me. So this is just an octave pedal which you can use as a sub-octave and an octave up, obviously, and then blend how much of it you want in. I use it as kind of an organy noise, which is kind of interesting to do that. But you can change like the octaves and make it really like, which sometimes is kind of cool if you're doing riffy stuff like and then also to do it as just so that's fun to use as a kind of every like maybe once a gig, like that's it. Use it like on 20 seconds and that's it, because if you overkill things it just sounds a bit naff. Then onto the Petrucci. This is a John Petrucci TC Electronics Dreamscape model, which actually a word about the TC Electronics stuff. It's really, really interesting. That's why this end of the board is TC Electronics. I find it really interesting because they've got a thing called tone print, where basically you can go onto their website on the phone or the app. Go onto the website on the app. You download this kind of like patches, and then you beam them from your phone to the pedal, and it's really strange. Basically what you do is you click the one that you want on the app and then you hold it over your pickup with the volume up and it makes this kind of like noise that's like, do you remember when the internet just came out and it made that like noise like that, which is a bit weird, as was that. You do that and then it beams the setting into the pedal so that you can have that sound. So like I use on this one, I think I use Guthrie on most of them just because I'm obsessed. But like this I suppose is very, very, very high chorus, and you can change it all in the settings anyway. But I use this as a chorus, which you can make a lot more intense and wibbly wobbly and horrible. Or you can just go for the like total Purple Rain noise. But that's on the chorus. It also does like flanging, weird stuff. Weird noises. Flanger, vibrato, which is kind of cool if you put it with the pog, if you want a really weird noise, and then with the delay. Maybe it's just me that likes weird noises, who knows. And then you'll also notice I've got 2 flashback delays. Basically the initial reason for getting 2 was because I had extra room on the board and couldn't think of something to fill the gap, so I got a second one, which is a bit of a dim reason really. The flashback, this one I don't really use that much. I use it for the clean channel, because for some weird reason there seems to be a dip in the volume when I use it on the electric channel, which I've not worked out why yet. So I'll bring that in and you can see. So I have it as kind of an analog delay on it. There is lots of different things, and there's the tone print as well, which is interesting. But there's different things like the reverse stuff, which I quite like. But yeah, so I use it for like... So like just a filler outer basically, as a technical term. I use that for that. And then the little TC electronic, which I just find really ace. I use it for the Improv, which we've been putting in, which is now officially called April. Plectrum, this is what one looks like. All the guitar shops that have asked me if I know. It's true, I do know what one is. Sorry, that was a bit feministy, wasn't it? Bad Chantel. So, yeah, the improv-y thing that we've started doing, I use the little TC electronic mini flashback thing. Basically because it just makes you get a little bit proggy, and you kind of get, while I'm playing on stage, I'm a bit weird and a lot of it's improv, and I get inspired by different sounds that come out when I play, rather than it just being the same every night. I can't do that because it's just boring, both for me, for the band, for you guys watching. It's just dull, so I don't do it. And yeah, the flashback, so I use it with a thing of that sort of thing. So at the end you can kind of hear what the delay is doing, but the rest of it you can't, which I really like because it doesn't just mess it all up and make it a big mushy mush mess. So yeah, I use that for that, and it just makes it a bit more inspired and proggy, I suppose. And you'll also notice that that's not in the loop, which is why it's at the end. Another practical reason, that one. Because it's not in the loop because I didn't have enough loops, because it only has 5 loops instead of 6. So, and if it did have 6, I won't be able to fit it on the board. So it is a good reason why it's not in the loop. And yeah, I guess that's it for the pedal boardy bit. So let's do some questions. Have I ever used stereo, as in one feed to an amp, another to the PA? Interesting question, because this is another thing that I actually do. Right, I'm going to show you this. Ignore the tip of the house because it is a bit of a tip. But you will like my new lanterns that I bought yesterday. They're very nice. So the other bit of the pedal board that I use, which is out the back, out of the effects loop, which, yes, everything is colour-coded to make things simple, because it's nice to make things simple. So, basically, that's the effects loop. The thing that I use is out of the speaker, out, going into a JDX, radial, JDX, which then takes the feed from that back into the speaker, and that is used as a DI out. So the output there goes XLR to the PA, to the multi-car, right through the front of the house. But it basically takes the exact sound. I'm going to stand up because I'm going to... Right. It takes the exact feed from the cab and the head to the PA, so you're getting the exact sound of it, which I much prefer. I only use that in my InEar Monitoring because I don't really like the sound of mics on the cab. I think they sound a bit, I don't know, there's too many variables where you can have where it's a different desk, it's a different mic, somebody's used a different setting on it, and it's just a bit bleh. Whereas with that, it's the exact sound that I have, and it's consistent, so that's why I use that, and it's really cool. So yes, sometimes we do stereo do it, as you've put in the question, that I've nearly forgot the answer question for. So yeah, sometimes we do dual do this, so we've even done it 3 sometimes, just to be really, really like a bit about it. Sometimes we'll use 2 mics on the cab, and then the JDX into the PA as well as a line out. So, a bit obsessive, but it makes a really good guitar sound. Okay, what overdrive pedal are you using? That would be the Sweet Tea. I'm trying to do this without having to turn the thing round. Tube Screamer, no. I do have a Tube Screamer, which was a Keeley mod, but I never really got on with it, so I didn't really use it. Gubbins, proper Yorkshire. Do you know you can tune a guitar but you can't tune a fish? Well done. Right, sorry, I'm still looking through these questions, trying to answer as many as I can. How long does it take you to set up each pedal? Is it something, or it is something I really struggle with? It doesn't really take that long. I'm maybe a bit lax about it because I kind of just set them at home like today, spend a bit of time with them, and just kind of get my sound so I like it, and then take it to the venues as it is, and then just basically mess about with the volume to make sure everything's matching at the venue. But also because things can be a bit tonally different at venues, so you've got to be kind of open to just tweaking things a bit. But I think once you've got your core sound, and then you can just tweak things and you know how to get different sounds that would be, you know, you've got to compensate at different venues, then I think it's quick enough to do then.
And if you flight case it, knobs don't get knocked.
Oh yeah, and Dad says if you flight case it, make sure that the knobs don't get knocked, which is why spongy flight cases are great. Blah, 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 blah. Do you go drive first, then modulation? I don't know, Dad built it. Have you seen what's underneath it? Hang on. I can do it, Dad, I don't need you to do it. This is what's underneath. Even my name's underneath. Oh yeah, I use the DC-10 Seox power thing to power it all as well. So yeah, this is what's underneath, so I've not got a clue what comes first in the chain or second or anything. Oh, wah-wah first, there we go. He knows more about it than me. I just play it, I don't know. Carving Vi, very good amp, very, very good amp. Do you put your pedals through the effects loop on the amp before the amp's preamp? I do, as we just saw at the back. That's, I put, actually I didn't show you the delay, did I, thinking about it? Right, I use a T-Rex replica for my delay that I put through the effects loop on the amp. Odd hearing 50 Hz hum, so used to hearing 60 Hz. Ah, well, I'm sure we can emulate it somehow. The future plans for the States. One day. Osteopath. She's an amazingly talented osteopath, but plays. I can't do osteopathy, so. Sorry, I'm still going through all these comments and questions. Do the lights dim when you power up all those pedals? Hopefully not, and hopefully the neighbours don't either. Dial-up modem impression, yeah, that were a bit. Trying to listen to you in one ear while Dad's ratcheting in the other. Look, what's ratcheting? Is that some sort of DIY? Favourite, where do I go for shops for guitars in the UK? I don't really. They're a necessity. I'm not a massive fan of going to guitar shops that much because of experiences in the past where they go, do you know what a plectrum is? And it's like, really? So yeah, I don't know. Don't know. Maybe I should get one, build one, make a good one that's a girl one, I don't know. Would you like to play again in West Pilar? Yes, I would. I loved it there. Is your recording setup in the studio the same as the stage? Interestingly, no, not a patch on it, literally. It's really interesting is the recording setup in the studio, and when I do the next album in the studio, I'll give you a rig rundown on that as well. The amp's making really funny noises, and I'm not sure why. Bit worrying. Let's just mute that, shall we? There we go. Yeah, the rig rundown in the studio. Basically, I'm really experimental in the studio, so I don't tend to use what I would use on stage. So the last album, I think we had like 3 or 4 outputs going from the guitar. So we had a direct line in through the iBox and everything, and then we had 2 amps. I think I ran it through. I think I ran it through the Carvin and either a Rivera or an Egnator, through 2 separate cabs, and then had mics going on them and lines out. So actually there was probably about 5 or 6 lines going in per guitar track, which was a bit excessive. And then there were also like the overdubbed parts that were like, there was not really much need for using the amps and stuff, so we used a lot of like, we used a pod basically, which worked, and we did a lot of reamping as well with the pod, which was interesting. And then also doing really weird techniques like...
What's reamping?
What is reamping?
Yeah. You might know that. A lot of people might not know what reamping is. You might not know that.
You know the moments where you're going really red and you could just tell your dad just to not do that, because it's just not funny. Maybe if my fantastic producer Livy Brown's watching, maybe he could tell us what reamping is, because I'm not very good at explaining it. I just know that we did it and it sounded great. There goes your pint tonight. We're even now on the pedalboard thing. So yes, the studio, the other thing that we did as well, which was really interesting, because I was doing like a lot of weird feedback stuff on the last album, like on Your Fever at the end, there was a lot of feedback, which it's live, you can do it because you can really crank your amp, and we could crank it in the vocal booth and stuff, but it was easier to pick out the frequencies that we wanted to feedback, word went then, pick out the noises, the frequencies that we wanted to feedback on, and then get a multiband EQ, boost those frequencies, crank it in a vocal booth with the various amp setup things that we had going on, and let it feedback from them frequencies. So it was kind of like a crafted feedback, rather than just randomly hoping the right notes will squeak out, which was an interesting way of doing it. And also a lot of EBO stuff as well, because I got a bit obsessed with the EBO after Stephen Wilson's Raven That Refused to Sing album. Right, that was a really long answer, wasn't it? Sorry. I've got a question. Oh God, they're getting long questions. This is a really long question. Right, I recently stripped down my own gear and now run a preamp all the time so that I get a constant output into my voices, and run a Bugera head, don't know that one, and speaker, and a Vox set to an AC30 for a split sound. So my question is to you, are we going to have a beer this year? I wish I'd read the ending before the start. Now I'm blonde and blushing again. What a dim person I am. Did you get endorsed with Music Man guitars, or is it just my choice? It's my choice. I bought them all. Basically, I buy them. If I like a guitar, I'll buy it, if I can afford it. But yeah, it's not a given. It's just if it sounds good for me and it works for me, then great. And I don't really see the point of endorsing products that you don't like, because what's the point? What's my dream guitar? Probably my Petrucci. I love the Petrucci. Hang on. Right, the couch is a total mess and there's envelopes on it and TV remotes, but just as is the table. So this is the Petrucci. We'll move the envelopes. And the Aldi leaflet in the background. So this is the Petrucci Music Man JP6. It's quite an old one, this one. This was my first one that I got. I think I've got 3, 4, something like that now. But this one, it's a white sparkle. It's all original, so everything's just like it is when you buy it in the shop, apart from the elastic band around the knob because the thing fell off. Yep, the pickups are exactly the same. I think they're DiMarzio's, or maybe the newer models DiMarzio's. But yeah, it's just a JP6. I don't think it's the top of the range model because it's not got the shields and the piezo and stuff, but it just works. My other one does, yeah. The one that I use on stage does, but this one was the one that's on stage is away, so it's ready for tomorrow's gig. So this one was the one that was accessible. But it's just really comfy to play because it's got such a flat neck and it's thin and it's light as well. Because I mean, everybody knows I had a bad back other year, so having a heavy guitar just would not have worked for me at all. I like things like Les Pauls and stuff. They're all right to use in studio sat down, but I couldn't do a gig with one stood up. I'd just be like, by the end of the gig, I'd be like a 90-year-old. I am anyway, but, so yeah, just, that's why I use that. Favourite sounding venue? Probably the Apex in Bury St Edmunds, just because it's blooming brilliant. It's just an amazing venue, and Fleece that does the sound layers just like, so good. So yeah, hopefully we'll get that in again this year, maybe or next year. I'm not sure, but love that place. No full tone Trower type pedals. Have to think yourself. It sounds brilliant. I did have a Rotosphere. Is it a Rotovibe something? I can't remember what it was called. The big sound one, which was really good. I had that on my old pedal board, but it was really noisy. It was like it had a ground hum on it all the time, and it was really annoying, so I took that off and just can't use that. It's horrible. do you have a home recording setup? I do have a home recording setup. Basically, it's just a Mac that I use Logic on, going through a Focusrite Forte interface, and a Blue Woodpecker mic, and lines in, and that's it. I've not got loads of fancy racks of stuff because I've nowhere to put them, and I wouldn't know what to do with them probably anyway, so... but yeah, I do have a home recording setup, and I tend to demo everything at home and then take it to a studio and then make it proper. Did Rory Gallagher have an influence on your playing? No. Dad! No, not really. I know I should have said yes, and it is the traditional thing to do, to say yes, and the expected thing, but no, not really. I'll be honest. I love his playing, I admire his playing and stuff like that, but it's not something as a child I listened to. I've listened to it more when I've grown up, if I've grown up, I don't know. But yeah, as a child, I just didn't, it wasn't my thing. I was more into Fleetwood Mac and Led Zepp and stuff like that, and Free, who I went to see Paul Rodgers on Monday. Oh, so good, just so good. And he was doing all the Free stuff, and it was just like, and when he did My Brother Jake and Ride on a Pony, I was just like, I think he did both of them anyway, but oh, it was so good. Right, do you have any input on bass player's sound, and do you have to make any compromises for the band sound? No. I'm going to be really good with how I say this. Colin's sound I've never ever needed to make any changes to, because he's a very, very, very incredibly intelligent bass player who is completely conscious, aware and mindful of the full sound rather than just what his sound is, which I think is so important in a band, is to be really mindful of the full sound, because I think there's so many players that just go, okay, well, my sound's great and it works for me and that's it, and it can work for you in, you know, a metal band, and you're going to take it to a folk band, but that's your sound, so you're going to take it, and there's no compromise. And it's just like, no, no, you play what's right for the song. So no, I've not had to make any sound dictations to Colin, because he's just blooming brilliant. And yeah, he's just mindful of the overall picture, basically. So I think as long as you're consciously making an effort to be always thinking, right, well, yeah, this is what sounds best for the whole band, then you won't need to make any compromises. Do you still play the green guitar, the PRS? Sometimes, not often. I got a PRS Custom 24, which is lovely, but it just didn't cut through like the Music Man does. So I stopped using it for live. I still use it for studio. Do you have a musical family? Dad used to play guitar when he was young, but doesn't anymore. Do you use a harmonizer pickup? I don't even know what one of them is. Blooming heck. Learn something every day. Oh, and I've got to the bottom of the questions. See, somebody putting Colin, yes. You what? Combine harmonizer. There we go. This is where I get my wit from. Anyway, I think that's about it, unless anybody's got any more questions about the equipment and rig and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've all really enjoyed the rig rundown, and hopefully it's ticked every box that you wanted it to and stuff like that. And yeah, hopefully I'll try and do another of some sort soon, if I remember. Thank you for watching, and good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever it is where you are. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, any current blues players you admire? Is Guthrie a blues player? Is Stephen Wilson a blues player? I admire them. Oh God, all the questions are coming back in now. Lincolnshire Coast tomorrow. I'm playing in Lincoln tomorrow. Just people saying thank you. Thank you very much for watching. You are very lovely people, and please come to a show and say hello and ask more questions and stuff like that. And thanks. Goodbye.